Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ben the Human Plays Synergy. I almost said RimWorld. You can tell I've been recording too much. We're working on getting our exploration hut off the ground. We're very short on people, and I'm kind of hoping that once exploration gets up and running, it's going to be tricky because we don't have a ton of people that we can be sending out for exploring. But because we have the water condenser running, I don't think this will run. Oh. If it's in the dry season, it produces more water. If I'm reading this right. Be in the dry season, produces plus 10 clean water. Okay. Based on this building alone, I think I can pull people out of my water production zone. Maybe we keep this, well, let's just leave it be. If we find ourselves starting to run out of water, we could always bring a guy back here and work on the vast amount of toxic water we've built up in the background. But for now, let's just let our water condenser run for us. And then let's see if we can't get an exploration team out here. So we need to explore a swamp zone. What was it? Swamp area and lake shores. So here's lake shores, I assume. And then are you a swamp? Kind of looks like it. Oh, nope, here's a swamp. This kind of looks like a swamp too, but maybe not. So it looks like you have to explore a forest area to get to lake shores, and then a desert area to get to swamp. Yeah. So why don't we... What does this duration of optional tasks mean? Let's kind of just rush the two objectives here. Let's explore the desert area, then the swamp, and then explore the forest area, and then the lake shores. And then we can come back and start exploring, like, these different areas. Like the Inselberg, the antenna, the ruins, and the rocky peak. Because this will only take us, well, 8 days times 4, so 32. So by the end of essentially a cycle, we should be able to finish at least microclimate's task. And then I'm hoping we might get some more people. We have a crazy amount of population availability, so I'm kind of surprised we can't, we're not getting more children than we are. I wonder if part of that was because of the heat exhaustion problem. Is like, even though we have a bunch of empty houses, maybe they weren't counting as empty houses because they were overheated. So they were like, these 5 houses that you have, they don't count as houses. I'm just guessing, really. Let's throw down one more house. We're getting close to the end of the cycle here, so if we get, you know, we really push our housing limit, maybe we'll get like 10 kids next time. I don't know. Oh man, the explorers have arrived at the border of an unknown region where sand stretches as far as the eye can see, pierced only by a few blood-red rocks. However, the landscape's homogeneity is deceitful. The party discovers some roofs and chimneys buried in sand. A big city stood here long ago. As the party explores the area, the wind rises. Although they want to stay and map the region, doing so would put them at risk of it being exposed to a sandstorm. I mean, build a shelter. Now it'll take more time for them to get back, but I'd rather not lose 4 people when I only have 16. That spending an extra 10 days out there is kind of a no-brainer. Cultural research. Did we ever get those soft fibers? We did. Yes. Should have done that at the beginning of the episode. All right, we have analyzed the environmental impact of the barbed brambles. It's minus well-being in general. They will proliferate towards new germination grounds. Watch out, they spread some keratin that prevents other floral species from growing. Interesting. So does that mean we should probably tear out these brambles, or are they just gonna propagate in an area that's not a big deal? Maybe we should tear out some of them, just to kind of keep them, because they do seem to be like growing ridiculously fast, and they're invasive. So maybe it would be a good idea to rip some of these guys out. The good news is the petrified giant kind of counteracts some of that. I don't know who wins in a battle between petrified giant. Ooh, the whipping gourd is nice. Humidity, well-being, organic matter, and lowers temperature. They appear naturally near other plants. They don't react to scattering attempts. That's good to know. We haven't learned what pruning does necessarily for the sunshade tree just yet. We will shortly. I think we have that queued, right? Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was one of the things I did at the very end of last episode. Let's analyze this guy. We already analyzed the barbs. New cycle. Only three children? Really? I'm dying out here. I need more people. Do. 12 days for sun awning. All right, we do. Okay, so the goal for us now, on top of doing the microclimates research, we would love to get our hands on the awnings before the next dry cycle, and at least make sure all of our houses are covered from a temperature perspective. They came back. They brought some sand and boreal rock. Fantastic news. Or they are coming back, and they will bring rock and sand. Good. What are you guys working on? Pharmaceutical factory. Important. That'll be done in 10 days. Analysis report. Cotton sprouts, also good for well-being and organic matter and lowering the temperature. We've learned that ripping them out and picking them yields what we already knew. What are the other options for plant handling? Scattering is probably one of them, which I haven't learned yet, I don't think. Yeah, sowing is the option. What's the last one? It's probably one of these, like, agriculture ones. Maybe composter? I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, man. We did a great job clearing out these barb brambles. Yeah, get these guys torn out. Oh, this person's trimming them. You know what? Considering they're invasive, I don't think we need to baby them by trimming them and keeping them alive. I want to tear these guys out so they stay in control, because they are bad for well-being. We definitely don't want them encroaching on our people, or on our village. And I don't want them to encroach upon our good plants either, so we'll tear as many of them out as we can. I keep seeing these tiny little spikes and think they're actually the barbed guys. Ah, that's right. Pruning yields branches, which is awesome. Yeah, the sunshade tree is a great tree. And I would love to get enough people to have a person dedicated to pruning these guys. But maybe we focus on pruning the trees that wouldn't be a part of our main area. Like if we were going to build houses here, leave these guys alone so they contribute to a nice cultural zone. But if we trim these guys out here, then, you know, that'll be good. Get these thorns are a menace. The invasive plants are pretty relentless. Now that I realize that that's a thing that happens, I'm like, man, they really do. I can't believe I let the mushrooms get out of hand as I did in the last map. It was killing all of my plants by the end. Water is still at a net positive, just working off of the water condenser. So if we need a second one, we've got another thermal basin over there, which is pretty cool. Let's switch over to clean water cooling here, because very shortly we're gonna have lots of branches out here from that one guy. And then maybe we'll hold off on assigning anybody to the forge until we get 3 more children to join the ranks. But let's send the explorers team out back to the swamp area. Oh, this is twice as long. My math was all off. Especially because they had to spend another 10 days sitting in a... sitting in a tent, essentially. Let's go ahead and build another storage, a small warehouse out here. We got this one up here, but it's almost half full, and I think it would help from a, like a processing perspective if we could move some of our stuff for like forging and whatever to this guy rather than having to walk back and forth from all of them. We've done the analysis of the throated water lily. As anticipated, very good for everybody. Most of the planets, I did say planets. Most of the plants on this map are actually pretty helpful from a, like, people perspective. The volcano tree, not great, but it's also not invasive, so we can kind of just leave it be in the regions where it exists. The only one we really have to keep an eye on is this barbed bramble, so it doesn't encroach too much on the surrounding zone. And honestly, there's so much of it that it's like, it's not that big a deal to tear out a bunch of it. Let's take a person out of the field laboratory. We've only got one thing left to research. I think we've done the environmental impact and the basic analysis on everything that exists in this map right now. Sun awnings, yes! Alright, what comes next after sun awnings is a question. Because a lot of things take tools and we don't really have many of them. Cup of tea? We don't have any tools. Tapping is an interesting idea. Once again, need tools. Is there any research that doesn't take tools right now? That we could just get for free? The Weaver's Workshop takes tools. Oh, this guy. You know what? It's gonna take you 80 days. just take a lot of time. Take your time to research the cultural square. Why not? Bringing bark over there. Are you guys still collecting bark? Bark and carbon bulbs, I believe. Or maybe only carbon bulbs? No, you collect bark from these guys. Where do you get bulbs from? Oh, you must have gotten bulbs from back when you were picking. Thank you for ripping out all of these barbed brambles. Honestly, I'm gonna eliminate the barbed brambles from this side of the map. If it gets to the point where we're like, well, I would really like some barbed brambles, there's a whole horde of them down here. So I'm not super worried about, like, eradicating them necessarily. They might even, like, spawn back on their own, since they're an invasive plant. I don't know if they need other barbed brambles to propagate from, but for now I think we're doing fine. just keeping them under control. They're invading faster than I can tear them out even. So I think it's okay. I'm okay with tearing them out. Small warehouse was completed. That's a good thing. Expedition has reached the swamp. Approaching an area of green, the explorers don't find the gardens they hope for, but a village drowned in some stinking bog. The silence is sickening, and there's nothing to indicate anything could survive there. The place could clearly make anyone very ill should they not take precautions. Among the abandoned buildings, explorers spot a cellar as well as a few houses, the roofs of which are still resistant to humidity. The largest building is adorned with rusty machines. After a closer look, it actually seems to be a partially flooded lumber mill. Maybe it is still repairable. Well, we don't have woodworking, We don't have gear, so search the houses. 2 people fell sick, but you couldn't have put the gear on? Ugh, they're full of corpses swarming with parasites. Yikes. You couldn't have put the gear on when you found it? Alright, come on back. We'll put somebody to work in the infirmary to be ready for your return. So we'll get those 2 people sick, or 2 sick people fixed up. I was gonna say, what are they afflicted with? Just like sickness? Is sickness a thing? Wonder if it's poisoning? Perhaps poisoning. Or maybe atrophy? I think atrophy is like the worst version of weakness, perhaps? Intoxication. Maybe they were intoxicated. I don't know. Minus to organic matter is interesting. And then it does add well-being. Quickly invade a huge area. Are you in invasive as well? And destroy an existing ecosystem by undermining the ground's organic composition. Okay. Now that I see that there's as many of you as there are, I'm not surprised that you are invasive. Let's go ahead and rip out almost all of this. Not the water gourds or the water lilies. What are you? I don't want to rip out the whole thing, but a lot of the thing. Let's leave these 2. It's going to take forever to rip all that stuff out anyway. We should build a road back there if we're going to do this. It's like, there. Good. The environmental survey thing is actually pretty helpful from a knowledge perspective. It's kind of neat. Like, you could memorize all of these things, but I don't think I'd be able to do that. Alright, we finished pharmaceutical research. This takes protective gear, which we will have some of when our explorers come back. So that's something that's interesting. This takes composites, which we don't have. This would take more protective gear, but we don't have cultural level high enough. Is there anything we could have you working on in the meantime? Not really, because we don't have any tools. So maybe what we do is pull this dude out of here and apply you to the forge for now. Look at that! We already have 133 branches. Wild. How's it going on the bramble eradication effort? Okay. Water's still doing fine. We're holding kind of steady around 360. We have so many seeds. Honestly, I'm glad that I learned that you can make meals out of different things. Because the amount of seeds we've gathered just from like picking these goofy plants over and over is ridiculous. With just one guy as well. He's like, I've harvested so many seeds. We'll never go hungry again. How many spare people we got? We got 2 available citizens. Plus the explorers team. But 2 of them will have to sit around for a little bit in the infirmary to heal up. I'm guessing they've been either intoxicated or poisoned. Hopefully not poisoning, because that takes a long time and a lot of medicine to fix. But we'll see. They've been intoxicated. When they interact with certain plants, they can suffer from intoxication. Performing analysis on plants is essential to identify dangerous interactions. Suffering intoxication a second time makes it poisoning. Okay. So off they go. They will be fixed in 6 days. And it only takes 2 purifying remedy. Can you... Where are you going? Go... Oh, wait a minute. I thought I had somebody working here. Did I accidentally unassign them? Whoops. There we go. Now it's open for business. I assume Zola will... Zola and Klematov have merged into one being. You see how Zola is just barely running faster than Klematov? Or maybe the other way around. Look at him zoom. Are you going to the infirmary? Zola is good. Klematov, are you delivering... What are you? You're delivering branches? I guess that kind of makes sense. And now you're going to get healed. Fantastic news. That's what we want to see. Do we store seeds in the small warehouse? We sure do. Okay. Kind of thinking we should limit, so tools should be stored down here. Scrolls as well. Basically, our production facilities are going to be down there, so we shouldn't be bringing stuff up here if we don't have to. So glass, lianas, musical instruments. Medicine we should have up here. Protective gear, I'm not, probably not. Put that in the other one. Composites. Food stuff we should have up here. And then this stuff should all be in the other one. We should research... Oh, well, you know what? I think the Thorns research is the opposite, or not the opposite. It's from tablet research, I think. So we wouldn't see... So we wouldn't be able to make tools out of thorns until we learn that ability. I think that's roughly accurate. You guys better yet? You're about halfway there. $61 days. We do have 5 available citizens. Have we made any tools? Oh, right, we brought back tools. Put a guy back in here. All right, so if we have tools, what would be a good thing to work on? Textiles we could turn into protective gear and scrolls. Works of art is interesting, but it kind of enables like more cultural stuff really than anything. I think maybe the tapping is probably the, or notching, so we can get our hands on why can't I remember the name of the resource? The resin. Because like the branches is great from the arborist workshop, but we've quickly reached the point where we have 121 branches, and now if we get enough spare people to come out here and start tearing these plants out, we're gonna have a crazy amount of branches coming in. So we could definitely pull this guy off of resin duty and off of branch duty and just have him collecting resin from these trees. They get so small once they've been pruned. I wonder if pruning them actually is okay from a shade perspective. Because it seems like they still have the zone. Whereas when we harvest the wigged lotus down here, I don't know if it always has that zone. Maybe it always does have the zone, and we just have to wait till it grows back. In poor health. Why are you in poor health? Is it because you're near the kitchen? I have no idea. Are you guys better yet? You are. Fantastic. All right, let's send the explorers back out. Now you're going the other direction. Exploration time. It's going to take you 16 days. You're about, well, not quite. You're about a third of the way through researching the cultural square. So he's got a ways to go still. Water, we're actually starting to lose now. And that's probably because we restarted our tool construction. And then we're always using a little bit of water for... We're always using a little bit of water for our food production. New cycle! Yes! Only one new child? Are you kidding me? You people procreate so slowly compared to the last group. Yeah, it's definitely not the fact that we... Because it's 7 houses can accommodate a new child, and we're getting like 1 to 3. So we're just running into a limiting factor there. What is this? Enough grassy... Although any grassy areas are mostly rare and small, the explorers are lucky enough to discover an entire space with lush vegetation. Now, these plants aren't pretty unless you consider endurance to be beautiful. They don't require much water to flourish, and their fibers are sturdy and durable. Of course, damaging this natural grove is out of the question, but our explorers would be wrong not to collect a few samples from the surrounding plants. What does digging on the site do? Prune the plants above ground. Let's dig. Maybe that'll get me something cool. Like, I hope we would learn about this hardy plant. And maybe we can plant it ourselves? Perhaps? I think we can reduce the amount of trimming done on the rocks up here right now, the petrified giant. We're doing good on rocks. We have 140, and I think, well, at least last I remembered that we definitely had some rocky amalgams. We still have some rocky amalgams queued up for harvesting. So let's pull this guy out of here. I think we only need one guy to be trimming these cactus shrubs. Because what are there? There's 7 of them. I think if you had 2 people, they would be sitting, or one person would be, or both of them would be sitting around not doing anything relatively often. Take the person out of the infirmary. We don't have anybody sick. I think we'll keep the 4 available citizens for now. I'd like them to go out and tear out these plants relatively quickly. So why don't we go ahead and... that's exactly what I was concerned about, is they're going to keep encroaching if we don't rip them out. So let's get these 3 prioritized, and then, honestly, like, get out here and tear these guys out. We won't high priority those yet until these 3 are gone. But other than the population growth being kind of slow, I'm pretty happy with how the village is coming together now. We're exploring at a decent rate. I know they'll be out there for quite a long time, but soon. And we've torn out the brambles, fantastic. Let's go ahead and priority these guys now as well. It's weird, sometimes they'll process a plant and they'll bring it back to the warehouse. Other times they'll process a plant and they'll just, like, ignore it. They'll just leave its resource on the ground. And I don't know when they decide to do that. One way or the other. Just trying to clean up my roads here. Alright, 1 bramble left on this side of the map. And then this will be the test. We'll see if any brambles pop up. If I haven't missed one. Because I very well could be like, all the brambles are gone, and there's clearly a small one somewhere. But I don't think there are. And then the next step is cleaning up these awful things. It's kind of like, have you ever planted bamboo in real life? I've never done it, but I've heard horror stories of people planting bamboo in, like, a garden, and then the bamboo just proliferates like crazy. And it starts to invade their lawn, and it's just a nightmare to get rid of, or even just try to control. Using spades, the explorers pierce the ground, which looks like terracotta. The soil underneath is moist and of rare quality. No wonder such a grove has grown here. Using the little ditch they have dug in the ground, the explorers are able to extract some plants that are flourishing away from the sunlight. We will collect the resources. We got seeds, cereals, and thorns. Interesting. Come on back. And then we'll try to send them back to the swamp this episode. I'd like to see what the conclusion of microclimates has for us. We'll go a little faster. We are researching things at a good rate. Lots of tools. We got arboriculture done. All right, so we can tap the sunshade tree for sure. We can't tap the volcano tree. I'm kind of surprised. Let's cancel. And then notching. You can do sunshade trees. And it kind of looks like that's it. Can't even notch the cactus. Huh. Okay. Well, let's swap out the ones that we were harvesting the branches for, and then just notch them for resin instead. We will have this guy. This guy's been sitting here doing nothing for forever. Let's have him analyze the sunshade tree, just so we get our due diligence there. Pick up these thorns. And then don't leave your rocks out here. Rocks are a precious resource. Alright, this guy's gonna bring back our water production. We could consider building another thermal basin all the way out here, because it's just 20 tools and it's basically free water. What's our next technology? This is the question. These two are like kind of superfluous right now. We got notching, which is good. Like, water recipe really doesn't matter. We don't have sand production yet, so we can't really utilize that. Yeah, we need to work on... Maybe because we need to work on culture, we should work on, like, woodworking, so we can start pumping out works of art, and then that will enable these things later. I think that makes sense from an overall strategy perspective. We're about halfway through the cultural square. That one guy, he's been spending all of his time on this project. Good for him. The expedition is back. We're going to send them out immediately to the Lake Shores region. It's going to take them 8 days to get there. We'll see how much time they spend there. Kick it up to speed 4. It's going to be a longer episode. I hope you enjoy that. That guy's finished his sunshade analysis. There it is. Notching gives us resin. Good. So that means we could probably pull this guy out of here for the time being. How many spare people? We got 5 spare people. They have started to chew through the bamboo up here, which is great. We're going to have a crazy amount of branches. Am I working on branches? We are. Okay, good. Takes 30 branches to make 10 tools, but yeah, we're going to have plenty of branches. I'm not super concerned about that. We could always slow down tool production. But I mean, the research uses a lot of tools, so keeping it going is probably worth our time. We've reached the lake shores. Navigate through the lake. We don't have any sand gliders. The explorers aren't hoping for much. How many ponds seen from afar have actually been mirages? For once, though, the long journey leads to a region full of lakes. Of course, the water is mostly toxic, but our supplies could use a new source. Besides, where there is water, there are often humans. Also, the surroundings around these lakes are quite green, and we could collect some plant matter from them. Let's collect soft fibers. I think I need soft fibers to get sun awnings. Our explorers collected a large number of useful data, I almost said useless data, in the field. Aspiring meteorologists have mentioned a promising way to forecast climatic change, even at long distances. By using the vegetal components of plants sensitive to atmospheric pressure, we could build a tower allowing us to fully analyze air conditions. We should collect all of the necessary materials before starting our research project. We would like to build a weather station, and we need 50 citizens? I've been trying to grow this population forever. Maybe it's because our cultural score is really low. These are the questions. But that's a great place to pause the episode. We did a good amount of work today. We'll get those people back, and then we will work on adding some sun awnings to our neighborhood over here, so our people don't die from heat exhaustion in the next dry season. So, for now, if you guys enjoyed the episode, click the like button. It helps me out a lot. If you want to see more episodes of Synergy or the other videos I have going on the channel, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have your notifications on so you know when the next videos go live. But until next time, everybody, I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody!